Okay, this is video number 2 in a series called A Tale of Three Treasures, starting with in 2020 when Marcus Griffith was elevated to the position of treasurer, despite the advice contrary from the then legal counsel. I spoke with civil service and asked if he had been approved for that position, and they said yes. And I said, what are the requirements for civil service to approve someone to be the treasurer of the library with a budget of $5 million? And I was told, well, he had a few accounting classes in undergrad in college, and he had a business degree. Okay. So did I, but there's no way I would want to take on that job. I would be severely underqualified, even though I have a Bachelor of Arts, which is it's a stronger degree than Bachelor of Science. I took a Bachelor of Arts in Business Administration with a minor in marketing, with an emphasis in marketing and a minor in psychology, okay? And I have what's equivalent to an MBA for nonprofits in developing countries. And that's my Master of Public Health degree. It's like an MBA. There's a lot of classes in there with business management emphasis. And even with all the classes I have under my belt and all my business experience, I would not be a good fit to be treasurer of the library. Okay, so that's just me being honest. So I don't know how Marcus Griffith was approved for that position by civil service based on his academics. All right? But he was treasurer when I was officially voted on and appointed on December 21, 2022. Yes. Okay, so video 2, Tale of Three Treasures. So when I came on board as a trustee in 2022, Marcus Griffith was the treasurer. And the board before me before I came on board, the board had hired an accountant to do a forensic investigation. Upon inquiry, we realized that his contract did not include a look into the payroll, and that doesn't make any sense. So furthermore, he was reporting to the board that he did not have any access to the data because Marcus Griffith was refusing to give him any kind of access to QuickBooks. So my first board meeting attending as a trustee in January, we had a special meeting the day before the board meeting, and we went into special session and we had a conversation with Mr. Griffith. And at that time, there was a questioning by Hope Marable, who I agreed with on this particular point, asking Mr. Griffith why he had just written a check and paid for in excess of, I don't remember the exact amount, I think it was like $100,000. I don't remember. It was a big amount for electric bills that were in arrears for the last several years. And the reason the library was in arrears is because it wasn't getting regular billing from City Hall. No monthly statements whatsoever. And so the library got hit with this enormous bill to cover the last several years. And so the board asked Mr. Griffith to talk to City Hall, get the total due, make some kind of arrangements, bring it to the board, they discuss it, and make some payment arrangements, which, I think is a good idea. But instead, what Mr. Griffith did was just submit a check for the whole amount and paid it off, just like that, okay? So when the board found out about that in January, to her credit, Ms. Marable was not happy, and I agree with her. because she told him, that is not what the board asked you to do. You overextended your role. You violated the bylaws. That payment to the city hall for the electric bill was not approved by the board. And you know how things are supposed to work around here, and you did it anyway. So that was a big red flag to me about him. And then I personally questioned him about why he was refusing to give access to the forensic accountant at the time. And Mr. Griffith just kept saying, "Oh, I'm protecting the library. He could change the data, for the integrity of the data." And I had all kinds of questions, such as, can't you just give him a copy of the database? I understand there's lots of copies of the QuickBooks database floating around. Numerous people have on a thumb drive all the data on the QuickBooks, so why not give one to the forensic accountant? He said, no. He didn't have a really good reason for that. And I said, okay, he could sit down at your computer and take a look. You could give him read-only access so that he can't make any changes. Or even if he makes changes, isn't there a way to create a login so that, because it's all online, if he logs in, you can see whatever changes he may have made? There's all kinds of ways to track this. And, I happen to know a little bit about this. He kept coming up with one excuse after another as to why he couldn't do that. And I didn't want to terminate him necessarily. If he was willing to do the job and serve at the pleasure of the board, I wasn't out to get him. But I could see that his writing that lump sum check to the city was in violation of the instructions that the board had given him. And his refusal to cooperate with the forensic accountant was in direct violation of what the board had voted as well. And so it really left me with no choice but to vote in favor of terminating him. And that was a decision I made all on my own after I questioned him and said, please, can you just give data access to the accountant? He just simply refused. So he left me with no choice. And so at that meeting, at the board meeting, James Carlos was on vacation, so it was, and the president, Coleman, was absent. So we had a quorum because it was Hope Marable, Ron Hood, and I were attending. And that was 3 out of 5, that's a quorum. And we voted. We voted to terminate him that day in January. So that termination was fully in line with the bylaws. It was a majority vote by the board, and it was with cause. And there are reasons floating out around there. Other people are giving other reasons why he was terminated, and these are the reasons. He was flagrantly flouting the directions from the board to do the right thing. He just wouldn't do it. Very disappointing. So we didn't have an accountant, a treasurer for a while, and we went on a search, but that will be part of the next video, the story of Sandra Mike, and the story for her will be a couple videos long. I'm trying to keep these videos short, but that is why the board dismissed Marcus Griffith. Despite the stories that he was putting out there, I also heard he was going crazy trying to invalidate my vote because I voted from California. But Kathy Hochul had made it very clear that as long as we met certain criteria, like I announced it within 72 hours that I would be attending by Zoom, and I gave a physical address of where I'd be Zooming in from. I met all the criteria, and so my vote sticks. And I know that that my vote was put into question by people who didn't want to accept the decision of the board. But sorry, we went by the rules, and it was totally legit. And so that's part 2 in the Tale of Three Treasurers, and that's how and why Marcus Griffith was terminated as treasurer of the library. He was obstructing the forensic accountant from conducting an audit, which was being ordered by the education department in Albany. All right, that's it. That's it for this video.